These are very basic, like rudimentary, objective metrics that we can give. But really what it comes down to is just have a bit of charm about you. Understand that if you go up and say something to a girl, hi, I just wanted to ask how your day's going. I just wanted to tell you that you looked really nice today. If there is a girl that has a problem with that, presuming that it's not in a cul-de-sac alleyway at the dead of night and you've got your hood up, right?
Or you're her employer.
Or you're her employer. Well, here's another interesting one, right? Bill and Melinda Gates, right? Melinda Gates works for Microsoft. Bill is the founder and CEO. Bill sees Melinda around the office. This is in the 1980s. And he thinks, wow, yeah, she's a bit of all right. So he decides to ring her and say, Melinda, it's Bill. I wondered if you wanted to go out with me one evening. And she said, when? When are you thinking? He says, how's 3 weeks tomorrow? She said, Bill, I don't think that you're spontaneous enough for me. I don't think that this is going to work. Put the phone down. 30 minutes later, he rings back and says, how's this for spontaneous? You've got the rest of the day off. Let's go on a date. 2023. Founder, CEO of large tech company, rings receptionist, asking her to date him. And after she says no, rings back again, pulls her out of work and takes her on a date. Game over, right? Done. Where is the line in between Bill Gates and Harvey Weinstein? Well, it's precisely in the details, right? Everybody can say what Harvey Weinstein did was wrong. Some people would say that what Bill Gates did was wrong. But okay, is it wrong for two people, a guy and a girl, who spend every day, every single time that they go to the water cooler, one of them sees the other one gets up and like escapes from their chair so that they get the opportunity to go to the water cooler together, and they've been doing it for 6 months and it's this super platonic thing, but the guy's terrified and the girl's terrified. You go, okay, like should we nerf every relationship so that that interaction can never move to the next level, given the fact that we've got high rates of loneliness, given the fact that we've got massive amounts of sexlessness? 20% of relationships begin on online dating. 20% of relationships begin in online media, social media, right? That's 2 out of 5 relationships begin online, and they're the most fragile. They're the ones that drop the quickest. They're the ones that stay together the least long. Workplace, better. Friends, even better. Church, even better than that, right? But we are in uncharted waters here, people. With regards to the mating world, we are in uncharted waters.
The Harvey Weinstein example is where I was like, that guy was a fucking monster.
Well, of course.
Yeah, but the Bill Gates one I get, it's kind of like the old-fashioned way of doing things. You know, when our worlds used to be a village, and we would, you know, maybe write a letter, or we'd take the girl out from the church or whatever. But the Harvey Weinstein, this guy was a fucking monster. Like I remember listening to some of the tapes and the victims, and this guy was a fucking predator. I haven't
listened to any of those.
Really?
Are they harrowing?
It's one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard, where even like a journalist would come and interview him, and he would just be like, you know, sexually assaulting and physically assaulting her during the interview.
So this guy just had no boundaries.
He is just a disgusting monster.
But do you see what I mean? That, like, quite rightly, there needed to be a reckoning around that. There had to be a reckoning around that kind of a man using that kind of a position to get that kind of access.
Yeah.
That needed sanitizing. That sort of behavior needed sanitizing, and there was going to be fallout from it. Downstream from that, how sanitized should behavior be up to the point at which it's been sterilized? And there is 84% of women say that they want the man to make the first move, right? It is still on. I mean, for the girls that are listening, how many times have you been the one that's approached a guy? Like, I've been in nightclubs for 15 years, right? Met about 1 million people in there. Twice it's ever happened to me that girls have come up and been like forthright about chatting me up. Twice. And I've worked 1,000 nights in my...
That's actually pretty good going, actually.
yeah, two out of 1,000, that's not too bad. I mean, that could also be my fault, right? Like, but this is very difficult, man. And again, for the guys and girls that would say, well, what does it matter? You know, what does it matter that that people are going to be single? Especially for women. If you're a high achieving woman who's got the PhD, and I have a friend, PhD, millionaire, self-made millionaire in the fitness world, mid-30s, now going sperm donor route. She's really struggling to find a partner. So she is going to use her very vast resources to be able to support these kids, to bring them into the world to have a fantastic life. But make no mistake, that's a single parent household, right? That's a single parent household. the outcomes that you have from single parent households seem to be sociosexually, the daughters don't do particularly well. You have higher rates of sociosexuality, which is more casual sex, more complexes around sex from single parent households. But what we hear about a lot is that education and employment outcomes of single parent households on average tend to be worse. For women, for the girls in that situation, it doesn't really seem to impact them all that much. So however big you think that effect is, double it and put it just on boys. It's only boys that seem to have that kind of a problem. And quite rightly, you're not going to have a patriarch in the family that's maybe able to deal with a rambunctious, disagreeable boy. I don't think, for the women that want to have kids and you have the resources, absolutely. But for anyone to say that that's the optimal approach, that this is what would be amazing. And again, I'm not saying women become domestic prostitutes, take yourself out of the boardroom and get yourself back in the kitchen. Like, that's not what either of us are saying that we want women to do here. But most people, 8 out of 10 women that are childless once they reach their 40s and later, didn't intend to not be. This is a very difficult conversation that we need to have to warn people about the impact of not thinking ahead in their relationships. You have less time than you think. You need to be aware of that.
If I, on the other side of the coin, when we're talking about men again, if I delete the dating apps then, so, first thing we're doing, we're deleting all dating apps.